Do you know the difference between the Aether and Agartha? Do you know your Origins crew from the originals? The 1.0s, the 2.0s, the 04s? If you're like me and sometimes get mixed up with all the zombies community jargon, or just need a refresher about some basic elements of the Aether storyline, then this video is for you. So, the Aether. The Aether exists beyond our perception, outside of time and space. In the beginning, it was all there was with the Keepers. You'll often hear zombie YouTubers use the Aether and Agartha interchangeably, although that's not entirely correct, as I'll explain in this next little bit. So I imagine the Aether as this expanse of unlimited potential that only Monty, the Shadow Man, the Keepers, and Apothicons can even comprehend, and that Agartha is a special perfect place that exists in the Aether. So, if you ever hear YouTubers using these terms interchangeably, just be aware that Agartha is a specific place within the Aether. There's also a dark Aether, and that's where the Apothicons have been trapped for a very long time, although that's as much as we know about it for now. Agartha. The Keepers use the summoning key to create Agartha within the Aether. The Apothicons desire above all else to return to Agartha. In Origins, we open the gateway to Agartha. That's where Maxis flies in as a little drone at the end of the Easter egg. And the house that's referred to throughout the story is in Agartha in the Aether. Ultimus and Primus. So Ultimus is Latin for the last, and Primus is Latin for the first. When the zombies community first talked about various crews, labels were given to try and distinguish them. This led to Ultimus gaining the names 1.0s, 04s, and Originals. However, this became a little confusing when Primus was referred to as the Origins crew, because Origins and Originals sounds pretty similar, but Origins was the map Primus first featured in Black Ops 2. Primus is also known as 2.0s. And just quickly, Victus is Latin for defeated or vanquished, and they're also from the same dimension as Ultimus. They're sometimes referred to as Transit or Green Run crew. Richtofen's grand scheme. When teleporting for the first time to the moon, using the matter transference device, Richtofen became corrupted by the Apothicons and Shadow Man voices. Because of this corruption, he then also became obsessed with reaching Agartha. Remember how I was saying before that the Apothicons desire above all else to reach Agartha. On Moon, after collecting the Vril device from Call of the Dead and the Focusing Stone from Shangri-La, Richtofen carries out his plan to swap bodies with Samantha so that he can control the Aether and zombies. The data server. So I don't actually hear zombie YouTubers really talk about this much, but this is just in case it comes up. The data server was on this computer that you could access in Black Ops 1 as Mason, that had a whole bunch of usernames and passwords and other things to read and access. Black Ops 3 actually has a terminal version of the data server on the campaign computer. There's a whole lot of interesting things that will just take too long to go into in this video, like the transcripts of radios in the Ultimus universe, so I'll leave some links in the description in case you want to go check those out. The cycle. So when zombie YouTubers talk about the cycle, there's actually a couple of cycles they could be referring to. The Primus cycle, where Origins and the events of Black Ops 3 happen, and then the Primus crew are sent back to the Great War against the Apothicons, and then the cycle repeats itself. Or the Mob of the Dead cycle, where the mobsters are forced to battle waves of undead until Al Weasel Arlington defeats the other 3 mobsters, and the cycle is broken. The Vow. So this is actually mentioned a few times throughout the maps by different people, including Maxis and the Shadow Man, and I'm pretty sure they're both talking about Richtofen keeping his promise that he had made so long ago. My name is Edward Richtofen, and I have been trying so very hard to do the right thing. Long ago, I made a promise, a vow to protect him. The child must be protected. I can only pray that Edward will have the courage to fulfill the vow he made all those years ago. But at one point, he did everything I told him to. I keep hoping he'll remember the promise he made to me so long ago. So I think they've made this ambiguous on purpose because you can actually interpret what Richtofen says from both the Shadow Man and Maxis' point of view. Richtofen could have made a vow to protect the boy that Maxis is talking about, but at the same time, Ultimus Richtofen really did do everything the Shadow Man told him to, and so Ultimus Richtofen could have vowed to protect the Shadow Man. So let me know if there's any jargon that you'd add to the list. I'm also planning on uploading a video in a couple of weeks that goes into way more detail about the storyline, and that will be in enough detail to catch someone up with the story in preparation for Black Ops 4. And then later on, hopefully, I'm going to sort of go into a hardcore version where I use everything, making links between the timeline, the audio quotes, the ciphers, the in-game images that we can have access to, and things like that. So make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out for those videos. I'll see you later.